Hello world, I am Sapio and this is Scribe Mechanic. In this tutorial I will show you how to use balancers. Let me quickly tweak this. Alright, now it's silent. I could actually use this thing, but I will not. So in this tutorial I will show you how to balance automatically something, for example for hovering. There are two ways. I will start with the first one. Where is it? Here. The suspension. What you have to do is place a block, attach a suspension to it, and have another block at the end of it. And you need to push that block into another block, let's say this one. Now this will not work because the suspension only acts on these two blocks. Those two do not interact right now, so I will add this block, attach a bearing to it, attach another block. To that block I will attach the suspension, and to the suspension, which has the weight 0, I will attach a block. Now what this does, it allows us to freely move the suspension. But now let's try to do something else. Let's use a controller to let's put a button here. Let's use the controller to rotate this block into this one, this block into this one. Let's see, how was it? Positive 30 degrees. This should be enough. Oh, better place two blocks to avoid the same problem. Now you see, it spins like crazy. Come back, come back. Right. Oh. Now let's make it 5. If you don't know how to increase in a 1x1 method, you hold shift. You see? Now it only pushes a bit. Come on. Alright. Now you see that it is working. How do you make it to automatically check if there is any change in the position of the craft? Well, if you are flying 20 blocks or less away from the ground, well, then you could use a scanner, or is it called detector? Not entirely sure. A sensor. I was wrong. You can use a sensor attached to a bearing. Well, you don't need a bearing. Let's make so this one connects to this one and negative. Good. Now that it is connected, it is trying to move things. So what better way to have it not push too much than to use a bearing? And every time it pushes, let's make it 10 degrees. Every time it pushes, it will move the sensor. Let's make it 60% just so you can see. Have you seen? Now that is a waste of space. This should be more than enough. Let's check. Too tight. You cannot see it moving. Let's check now. Definitely moving. Let's get this back to 50%. You see, it is moving. And the camera is also moving away from the ground to balance the whole craft being pushed on the side. You see, it tries to keep itself away from the ground. You see, it goes back and rotates up in order to balance itself. Now let's move it a bit more. As you can see, every time it stops, every time it gets out of range, it stops trying to push it, and because of the inertia, it stays on the ground. Now let's remove this and add another block. It tries to balance. It sees the block. Avoid it. Well, for better understanding, I think I should move it in the opposite direction. And make it not bug. And make it effective. Now every time it sees the ground, in this case me, moves away from it, and it does that just enough to keep the craft in air. How do I know it is working? Well, for one thing, I have it working properly in this vehicle. See? I am on a side. And pressing right, and it tries to balance it. I press right, it pushes to the right. I stop pressing right, it balances me. I press left, right, it pushes to the right, left, it pushes me back, and everything works well. Now I have rolled and using the arrow to stay in check. I am on a side, I do not press anything, and it goes how it should. So this is a motorcycle. Functional. Completely functional. Now, instead of simply using the glitch, the suspension glitch, You could use something else, as you will see in the next episode. Thrusters. Have I stopped? No. Yeah. Now I have stopped. See ya in the next episode. I am Sapio.